Welcome to Behind the Backline, the podcast where we chat with merchants, brands, and industry professionals in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space about their products, services, industry trends, stories, and more. Join us now as we dig into the stories behind our favorite backline gear.
Welcome to episode 14 of Behind the Backline. I am Matt Jacoby of Octave Media, and today I am super excited because I have with me the CEO of SJC Drums, Mike Ciprari. Thanks for joining me today, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Great job on my last name.
Oh, thank you. As no one would know before this, I was trying 3 or 4 times to get it right before we started this.
Thanks for having me, man, for real.
Yeah, this is an honor. I got to stop by your booth at NAMM and everything. And actually, I have a friend I believe he's endorsed by you here in Madison, Wisconsin. It's kind of a cool thing, and I'll have to let him know that I talked to you. So.
Awesome. Great, man. I'll tell him I said hey, and it's good to talk to you again. It's been a few months since I saw you at NAMM.
Yeah, definitely. So give us a little bit of background about who you are.
Yeah, so I live in Massachusetts, grew up here with my family, obviously, and my brother, Scott, who actually the company is named after. He started building drums when we were kids, and I'm a drum nerd, love drums, always have. It's SJC. I'm very fortunate to call my hobby my job and vice versa, and so. I wish I had other interests and things that I could tell people about. I caught up with a buddy a couple of days ago, and he's like, "So what do you do for fun?" So we haven't seen each other in like 3 years. I'm like, actually nothing. Like drums. Like that's it. My family and drums.
Well, it keeps it easy, right? I mean, you merge the two, and
yeah, drums are my life, man. So really, that's me right there. Drums.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's very rare how often or how not often people don't get to align their passion with their job. It's a rare find, so it's good to hear that. So
yeah, totally. I'm very, very lucky, fortunate.
Well, cool. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there listening to this that are well aware of what SJC Drums, but could you give us a little bit of a background as to how the company started? Yeah,
for sure. So, with that, I started playing drums when I was 9 years old. I heard 311 on either like MTV or the radio or something. And I don't know. I was only 9, but I remember that feeling I got listening to Chad, listening to his drums. And I was so entranced by it and thought it was so cool. And I wanted to do that too. I don't come from a musical family at all. Like my brother started playing saxophone a couple years prior. And he was really into reading music and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I was just drawn to drums. Luckily got my first drum set that Christmas. My parents got me a red drum kit. Thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then my brother wanted to play it. A sibling rivalry would have it. I didn't let him touch it. So he got a used drum set, which I think that was like the point, looking back on history where SJC was kind of born. From him getting that used drum set, it was crappy. It didn't look as cool as my bright red kit. So he ripped the wrap off and spray painted the hardware and painted the shells, and it looked rad. And he just something clicked in him where he became super interested in refurbishing drums and then building drums from scratch and what all the intricacies of cutting a different bearing edge and what using different woods would do. While I was very entranced with, I didn't know it then, but the marketing behind drums and business, where I loved watching, back then there wasn't a lot of custom drums, but there were a few, bigger brands out there that were making drums for my favorite drummers. And I loved looking at the different colors and how they could match the theme with the stage and stuff like that. How it, Chad would have a different kit every tour. So we really just kind of in our own worlds were like daydreaming about stuff. My brother was actually taking action on it, refurbishing drums for friends. And so I think around the time I was 14 and he was 15, we actually started making drums. And this is when, there was no social media or anything. So I was just going to local shows, passing out flyers for my band at school and things like that. And obviously we were kids, as a 15-year-old, we're not like business owners. So,
yeah.
We were just messing around and having fun with it. And we weren't really losing money. I say we, I mean, my brother, he wasn't really losing money because, he charges his friends $50 to, glue the wrap down that was coming up on the seam or whatever it was. And then we both got jobs throughout high school to actually pay for the raw parts so that we could order stuff from, the drumsupplyhouse.com or whatever it was back then. And it really we never sat down and said, let's make a business. Here's our business plan. Let's get a loan from a bank. Let's get a warehouse. Let's make a logo. Everything just happened really organically and naturally through the course of from when we were both 14, 15 years old to 20. So about 5 years of just messing around. And really, it just seems like one day my phone just started ringing and emails coming through, and people were buying these drums that we just named after my brother because he's the one that started doing it. And so I became the sales guy and he was building everything, and we just went with it. And then he graduated college, I left college, and I left the band that I was touring with, and we focused on the company and just never looked back. And it's been 18 years now. And it's, obviously way more structured now, but that's the beginning story. And I look back and it was just so cool. We were in my grandma's basement, literally every day for 10 years straight, just messing around building drums. So cool.
Did she ever ask why you were down there? Was what? My grandma and my great grandma, actually, there was a plot of land behind my parents' house from the childhood house I had growing up. And they bought it, built the house, and my brother just kind of needed a place to spray paint stuff in the winter. And my dad actually converted our garage in the house we were living in for my other grandma. So there was nowhere really for him to do it. So he just started spray painting in her basement, and then we took up half the basement and then the whole thing. And she was so awesome. She helped. I remember we started powder coating. So I bought an oven. And so I needed to run 220 volt power to run the oven. So she paid for it. And anything we needed, she made us lunch, and bands would come pick up drums. The Academy is one of our first bands. And she made them cookies and stuff. She was so supportive. And the only time she ever got mad was my brother and I fought a lot. Being brothers and business owners, that's I think bound to happen. Yeah. But the police came one night because we were fighting. It was really late, and then we were playing music loud one time, so she got mad. But other than that, she never asked questions. And she was our quality control inspector. Every drum set we made, we'd bring up into the room and show her. And it was just such a gratifying and proud thing for the two of us, I think, because some of the drums eventually made it on TV. So watching late night shows with her and being remember that drum set, Grandma? She saw it in her house. It was just cool, man. I miss those days for sure. Oh, definitely. God, that kind of takes me back to some of the things where you're just always proud of something you make. You take it to the family members and they're like, oh, that's great. But usually it didn't become a business out of it. They're they just blow it off. And
yeah. And then when it's on TV, everyone thinks you're a millionaire and everything's all good. And they're oh, that's actually okay, cool. You've made it.
Yeah, very cool. I was reading, I think it's on your website. I was reading about was it the first time one of your kids ended up on the Grammys, was it?
Yeah, that one was a big one. The first actual TV performance we had that really hit home for both of us was Panic at the Disco on the MTV VMAs in 2003, I think. Okay. And then, we had a drum set on the Grammys where Elton John and Lady Gaga did a duet together. And Charles Haynes, a local drummer from Massachusetts, was Lady Gaga's drummer at the time. And he reps SJC so proudly. And he had our logo on the front head, obviously, and it was right over Elton John's shoulder. I was visiting my grandma at the nursing home at the time, and that was on TV. And I just remember being with her and my dad, and me and my dad's phones blowing up, and it was just super cool.
That's got to be just one crazy feeling. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, for sure. And the music industry is a tough one to be in, because I think it's easy to become not humble. And so, things like that as a 22-year-old, I'm glad I never was just yeah, I'm the shit, F everybody else. I got drums on TV. We went through so many struggles that kind of just, I had to be humble, because while our drums are on TV, I still have to manage and run a business that costs a lot of money. So, I've always been very proud of those moments, but it's just my brother and I were always just okay, cool. That's awesome. Let's get back to work. We never really lost sight of the goal, in the passion that we had. So it's important to stay humble, I feel.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is a huge key, and the fact that you guys stay grounded is just, yeah, that'll carry you for a lot longer than the ones that lose their minds. So
Yeah, for sure.
now, question, to make it full circle from the days of 311, does Chad Sexton use an SJC
Uh,
now?
you got to ask me and drive the screwdriver in more in my heart. He doesn't. We're friendly with each other. Like when he comes through Massachusetts or New England, I'll hit him up and go to a show and say hi to him. We built him a couple snare drums, just kind of as like a, you're my favorite drummer. I wouldn't be here without you. And like my first tattoo on my arm is a 311, like from one of their posters from the Transistor record. But no, he doesn't. I was just talking to a friend about this like 2 days ago. And no, he doesn't. But oh well. Sometimes that's better when your heroes aren't you're not working with your heroes.
Yeah, it's okay. Actually, funny story. The guy that I roomed with, a friend of mine here in town, that I roomed with him while we were in Anaheim for NAMM, and his wife's cousin is actually married to Chad, so they
No
are
way.
like very distant relatives, and I'm like,
Oh, that's
wow,
right.
that's creepy.
Send him the episode and see if he watches it. Hi, Chad.
Yeah, there we go.
I love you.
Still waiting for your autograph, even though I've made it.
Oh, dude, I have boxes of 311 things that I've had them sign. My dad would take me to like every show from like New Jersey up to Canada. My parents were so rad. They took me to. I seen 311 like 50 times by the time I was like 17.
Wow. And you got me beat by 50 times.
Yeah, I love that band.
Very cool. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan, but I have, a few of the radio hits from the 90s when I in like the high school hits. So, but yeah, still, they was good. So, kind of how long does it take to put together a drum or a drum set, or, what's kind of the process to building?
Yeah, it really depends on what the specs are. And so the past few years, we've really diversified our product line, where we used to just be full-fledged custom drums. You call us, get exactly what you want. The sky is the limit, really. And so a full-on custom kit, an average, our turnaround time right now is about 8 weeks. That's obviously to figure in wait times and things like that. But how many orders we've got on the books. But typically, if we were just working on a snare drum or like a full kit, we can depending on the finish, we can do it in a few days. And so we've expanded our product line to we've got some standard product that we make at our shop in Massachusetts, Tour Series, the Providence Series, and things like that. So that fills our schedule and allows customers to get a different price point. They don't have to wait that 8 weeks for a custom kit. So it really depends. Josh, our production manager, managed our schedule very well, where we keep our turnaround time at a consistent 8 weeks, which is in my opinion great for this industry. Our turnaround time 3 years ago used to be a year, but we've become much more efficient over the past few years. And so 8 weeks turnaround time, and within that, we're able to, keep all of our customers happy and build everything consistently within that time frame.
Cool. And are custom still like your biggest revenue stream, or do you not rely on a little bit more of the standard lines to keep it going?
It comes in waves, really, but it's kind of half and half. We've got enough standard product at actual stores across the world now, where that's kind of their bread and butter for a beginner drummer, or somebody that just wants an extra drum set for the studio or to keep in their practice space. So we do quite a few of the standard product, and then the custom stuff, that is our bread and butter. We're SJC Custom Drums. We're known for the custom stuff we do, and that's always going to stand alone as like our halo product, where that's going to be what all of our customers, we hope, aspire to get. And so it's half and half as far as production goes, but we really tend to focus on the custom side.
Very cool. And over the years, I've kind of seen a little bit on the website, but are you at liberty to kind of say, what your SJC drummer family looks like these days? Like, who are some of your big players, your biggest players?
Yeah, no, for sure. We're super proud of everybody that plays our drums, and we, since the beginning, we have been pretty or very light on the term endorsement, where I feel like a lot of companies, it's a turnoff for a 15-year-old to just want to feel like they're part of a family. And so to tell them, hey, you are endorsed. We welcome that, because it's just like, you are endorsed, man. We'll put you on our website with all your favorite drummers, which is the reason you probably play the drums and want an SJC drum set in the first place. And you're our best ambassador. You're going to be out there with the logo on your front kick head and talking about your relationship with us to all the other players in your area. So we're proud of everyone that we've got. And our key guys that are out there touring, 350 days a year. Trey from Green Day, Jay Weinberg with Slipknot, Josh from 21 Pilots, Frank Zuma with Sum 41, Imagine Dragons, Rancid, Day to Remember, All Time Low. Those dudes are just constantly touring, and Ryan reps us the best. He's a great friend and a great dude. Newfound Glory, Dropkick Murphys. We've got a ton of amazing drummers that, most of them I've been a fan of for 15 years now. So to work with these guys and be friends with them and design their drums is really an honor.
Yeah, I mean, to go from grandma's basement to doing all of those drum kits, it's got to be one heck of a success story to be told and to share so often. So
yeah, it's amazing, and I love it. I'm so humbled to see our drums, played by these dudes, and the fact that they trust us to design and build, their instrument that it's their career, and for them to choose SJC is super cool. And I look back when I was 15, I would never have believed that we make drums for the people that I just mentioned.
And how old are you now?
I'm 33.
Okay. Yeah. You're 2 years younger than me. So that is a really short time frame to have that kind of story.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's tough. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have that bug where it's good and bad, but you get that bug where nothing's really good enough. So, it was just I'm going after Trey Cool. And then we get Trey Cool. I'm like, fucking awesome. We got Trey. This is great. I'm going to take care of him. This is amazing. Who am I going to go after next? And it's just you always try and outdo yourself. And I look at other entrepreneurs out there in the business world, and I'm like, dude, you're 70. Why are you still pushing so hard to do this? And then I sit back and I understand why. It's your dream, and you don't feel like you're working. It's hard to turn off. So yeah, I deal with that kind of daily, because I have a son now. So my wife and I, we've got a little family going, and it's tough when I'm constantly thinking about work.
I know the feeling. I have 2 boys, and I'm in the same boat.
It's good and bad, because all right, rad, but you accomplish a lot of great things that you're proud of. But then it's just I want to just clock out and enjoy a Friday night without thinking of the next drum design or whatever.
And the only way to do that is to not go to a show on a Friday night and stare at the drum kit, right?
Exactly, dude. But I'll watch movies, or we'll let's watch a movie tonight, and I'll get a finish idea from some scene in the movie. I'm okay, I gotta go work real quick. It's like a sickness that entrepreneurs have, but it's good. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying. So going back to your family, the drum family a little bit. Sorry, not your immediate family. But you kind of showcase a lot of the big names. Do you is it easy for someone a local, using the term loosely, endorsee, like I'd mentioned earlier about my friend using you guys, do they get the same treatment
yeah, 100%.
The library? Okay, cool.
100%. And that's just rooted from me being 12 years old, wanting a custom kit and kind of getting treated like crap. I worked at Dunkin' Donuts under the table because my neighbor owned a Dunkin' Donuts near my house, and I saved up enough cash. I had $3,000 after 2 summers and bought a custom drum set, and I just got treated like crap. I wanted to feel like some of the other dudes on the roster that made me want to buy that brand, and it didn't feel good. And so I kind of made a vow to myself and to the SJC family that no matter what, no matter who you are, we're going to take care of you. So anybody that emails us, me, Zach, or Jason, who are kind of on the front lines with our customers and artists, we will write you back most of the time within 5 minutes, no matter who you are. And so that's really important to me, to make those drummers feel welcome and they're part of something. Because again, it roots back to when I was a kid and I just didn't.
You may be converting me on the spot from Pearl.
Well, I'm not trying to, but it's dude, when you buy a car or whatever, it's so faceless, and it's an investment. Anything's an investment these days, and like custom drums are certainly not high on the threshold of like things that people need. And so if we can make you a beautiful and great sounding drum set that is going to last you the rest of your life, but also make you feel good while doing it, and like we're not ripping you off and just stealing your money, and you drive the car off the lot and the guy's like, all right, cool, never going to talk to you again. Our relationship really starts when our customers email or call us, and then you get the drum set, and like that's part of the relationship. Like we're long term in it with drummers, because you never know when Joe Schmo, who's 14 years old playing his garage, when he's going to be the next Josh Dunn or Trey Cool. And so if you treat them well from the get-go, like you're in. That dude's loyal to your company forever. So that's our philosophy, and it's worked out. It's panned out pretty well for us, because we've had some dudes definitely become heavy hitters in the industry when we worked together at an early age. Your
philosophy on customer service could teach a lot of people in the corporate world how to treat customers.
Oh, dude, it's so frustrating when I deal with things in like my own life for customer service stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is not okay. Like, I know it's not up to the like crazy standards we hold, but yeah, customer service these days in so many industries is just crap.
Yeah, and like you said, going all the way back to even the car dealership, that's got to be the bottom of it right there. And then now, the SJC is the top of it. So maybe you could take a cue from your book.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll keep doing it, man. I mean, I can't believe some of our competition hasn't caught on to. We're not doing. It's not rocket science. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. Really, it goes back to friggin'. I don't even know.
Exactly. And I know a lot of, even just starting a business, you kind of rely on repeatable processes and things that, will always produce the quality product and a consistent product. But sometimes it's okay to break some of your service models in order to put the customer first. And actually,
100%, dude. And you know what? If and we've seen this because we're only human. If some process or lack of process like we had for so long is missing or wrong, and you ship a drum set and it's not the right thing, but you treat those people well, they're not going to be mad at you. They're going to work with you, and we're going to work with them to figure it out and fix it. Mm-hmm. Instead, if you get treated like crap from the get-go, and then the product's wrong as well or damaged, you're just like triple pissed, and there's no really coming back from that. So yeah, I mean, it's worked out in our favor for many on many accounts, and like the word of mouth that we get. We rarely pay for advertising, and that's just because so many of our drummers are so loyal, and they'll just spread the word or get our logo tattooed on their hand, which is incredible.
I see why. So, like, out of all of your drums, all of the different uses for them, what do you feel like do you feel the SJC fits better as a live kit, or works better as a recording kit, or what do you think, like in terms of quality?
Quality is all it's there for everything. Our drums are perfect for studio, touring. We've got a couple, I don't want to say lower line, but more affordable drum sets for a practice kit, for a weekend warrior. All of our stuff has, I mean, we've gotten some amazing reviews from touring drummers, studio drummers, that they just swear by them. We've got our drums in a bunch of studios. John Feldman, who's a world famous producer, he just did the last Blink-182 record. He's done tons of stuff. He uses SJC in his studio. We just sent him a bunch of our products for like a new sample pack that he's coming out with. Bill Stevenson with the Blasted Room in Fort Collins, Colorado, who does like Rise Against and some pretty huge bands. He uses SJC in the studio. So obviously they're great for touring because we can make them look really cool and match the stage, put lights in them, whatever finish you want. But yeah, the core of our drums, which is the most important thing, the bearing edges, the shells, the quality components that we use, everything is up to the highest standards, and the way we build everything is held again to those standards. So our drum sets and snare drums will last you a lifetime if you take care of them, and they're used across the board. So we're really proud of that.
Very cool. Very cool. So do you guys focus mainly on just like the drums themselves, the shells, or do you produce like heads and cymbals of your own as well?
No, we just do drum kits, snare drums. We've been known to do some wacky percussion stuff, one-offs for bands. We build Imagine Dragons, some really crazy like marching bass drums and things like that. But our core competency is custom drums and snares. We have a full line of hardware as well, stands and things like that. But I don't know, 10, 15 years down the line, I may think differently, but I don't think we'll ever get into the head or cymbal business. There's only a few players out there and they're all doing it really well. So I respect that and don't really want to compete there. I don't think I don't have the bandwidth to do that right now.
Actually, I think I remember back in high school that there was a certain drum maker who did have like their own brand of cymbals, just to they were almost like, we just ship these so that you have cymbals kind of thing, but they weren't going for quality. And I would imagine that you'd probably be better off just focusing on what you're good at and letting everybody else kind of fill in the gaps of your kit.
Yeah, exactly. And if one of our artists needs a hookup with some cymbals, we've got great relationships with all of them out there. And so we can just, link them up with the artist relations person over there and be done with it. We're too small to stretch ourselves so thin. And so we're really trying to focus just on what we're passionate about and what we know we're good at.
Very cool. A couple weeks ago, I've talked to a couple people that had introduced, well, one of them is, you may have know Drumlight. And seeing their stuff go into drums, like you had mentioned something about putting lights in. Do you work with other vendors like that to put in, or do you have your own lights? Yeah,
we work with the guys at Drumlight. They're awesome. And cool. We used to do it ourselves, and it's a little bit more expensive using them, but I like supporting them and giving them the business. And if there's an issue, they're the engineers and the gurus behind that world. So we trust them. If there's any issues, we'll just link the artist with them. But yeah, those dudes are great. They've got a great product, and I can't believe it took so long for someone to come out with that. And I remember when they did, I was like, oh, it's too late. This trend has passed, but they're killing it. So
yeah, I remember when I first started drumming in like 97, 98. I'd come across an acrylic kit, the clear kits. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be great with lights. At the time, it was just the thought of putting Christmas lights in it because that's like the easiest way to do it. But the fact that they capitalized on something, I'm like, dang it, I knew I had an idea way back.
Yeah, dude. I remember getting our first order to make a drum set with lights, and it was Panic at the Disco. And I was like, how the heck are we going to do it? And my brother figured out a way to make it happen, and it looked and worked great. But it's definitely evolved. Where you can trigger it with DMX and all the Ableton programs and things. You can make the drums match the light show. It's insane.
Yeah, the sound is just one factor of it. If you're not a trained musician with a good ear, or just a typical fan goer, if the drums are really bad sounding, they can tell. But if they're the sound is one thing, but then adding that light show on top of it, anything to enhance the drummer's.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Like, I see kids that buy the Drumlight stuff and add it. It's so easy and user intuitive. They can add it to their, whatever beginner drum set that costs $99, or they found it at a pawn shop. At least it gives that kid a little bit more inspiration to be like, my drum set looks rad. It lights up. Anything to motivate them and keep playing the drums, I think is cool.
Definitely. I know I've had my down days, my share of I don't want to play today days, but anything to keep you motivated.
For sure.
Well, cool. What's your website so people can check out more about SJC?
Yeah, our website's just sjcdrums.com. And then obviously all the socials at SJC Drums. We try and write back and engage with everybody on that. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Mike at sjcdrums.com. And anything that you guys, any questions you may have, or just want to click around our website, there's a bunch of really fun, cool stuff on there.
Cool. Yeah. And I will vouch for you guys. You and Zach have both been great in talking to plan this podcast. So yeah, it was great. I appreciate having you on today. This has been great. It's been fun talking about SJC.
Great. Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks everybody for listening, and appreciate the support and checking us out and having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you. And we will post some of the social links and the website links and stuff in the show notes afterwards. So
awesome. All right, cool.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening to Behind the Backline, brought to you by Active Media, an inbound marketing agency focused on helping music merchants develop an automated solution to increase website sales. You can find Active Media at www.active.media. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast in iTunes or Google Play Music to learn more about great products and companies in the musical instrument, pro audio, and event technology space. And be sure to leave a review to let us know what you thought of today's episode. We encourage you to share us with your friends and colleagues via social media, and we'll see you next time. Take care.